right, I'm ready. On page Kuf Ayin Tes, number Reish Nun Tes. We're finishing now. Why is it in Katnus that he had said previously that reaching the chaz of the Zah takes place when the godless comes in? Because the hairs actually grow very short, very slowly. Until Zah actually grows into the shape of a gadol. So all the time that Zah has not reached that stage, the kotzim don't reach the chaz. But that's only true of the kotzim which are called nefesh. They're the first ones to grow. But it says before the other two categories of hairs called nimin and sa'aras grow. And then because of this, so then when Zah is in that position, that's when they're at their longest state, they're longer than the nimin. Because they come at a later date, time of Yanika. So therefore it's the kosim specifically that reach the chest of Zah. The Elu, let me turn the page here. The Elu Hanimim Magiyim Rak Adakarim, they only go to the Garan, the Zah the Sham Ku Rosh Leah, which is a whole subject by itself, could be interesting, but going on. Number Reish Samach Aleph says, so therefore we see that they're longer min sa'aras, of course. Sa'aras magiyim rak ad reisha. They stand upright on the top of the head as they're on pen kaven shahashem shehem somkim v'yotzim rak bazan the godless the Zah. They only come out at this time. Behind the acha shugavav yatzach b'kotziv v'nimim. After that, the pichoch hey magiyim rak ad rosh zer on shel zer on pen. So all the thing has to do with time and timing like that. So let me move this around. So now we're coming to Reish Samak Beis. He says that I'm not going to explain this. So with your permission, I'm going to read it anyway. Not that I understood. I went through a little bit. And not that I understood it all. But there's some interesting ideas here. And one of the things I think that is confusing for me in reading the Shar Kavanos is that, he explained in detail a certain aspect or a certain Kavanah, but then he switched over to different Kavanah, on the same subject. And, which ones to practice, which one to do, all different kinds of things. It kind of fades out. So let's go and just read it. So let's read it at the top. Yivor Atam, why, we're going to explain the reason. He says, Hatam she'ein lahatil tzitzis batalis ad sheyarke gimel itzbachad misvas talis. It has to be 3 finger breadths from the end of the talis, klape mala, as it goes. In other words, from the end going upwards, that's where you're supposed to put the hole. V'nashlim adach adevayr inyan taliyas atzitzias ba'ar bekanfos talis. I'm not going to say that I understand all of this, so you may know more about this than me, and if you could help me out, good. So we explained previously how talas atzbaku or hamake bagodol. We'll call the yud sefiris the za'ad sofa yisod shalom until we're all the way through that. We said that before. So this has to do with the 3 lower gevuros, menehe gevuros. Asher b'yisod, which are in the yisod of Zeranpin. Heim levadim and mutakos, those are the only ones that actually get mamutak. Im chasadim, that to get from the yisodim. Asher sham b'mavur b'makomos. So the pattern here, he says that you have the 5 gevuros down there, and only 3 of them are sweetened by the chasadim. V'chein ein lahatel tzitzis b'talis ad sheyarke gimel itzbachos belvad. Misim svasa talis klape mala. So that's the reason why those are the only 3 that you have to have these 3 as bows. So I didn't quite see the connection. Visha lamala b'makom zeh, because of above this place. Afal Pishin is Galo Chasadim, even though we say that the Chasadim are out, but they still haven't sweetened the Gevuros. And that's the reason why they're only revealed in 3 finger breadths. And wants to say something like this, it's not quite, clear. But read it on. Why they called fingers breaths. It's because of what I said previously. So you have Chasadim Gevuros in the Das of Zer Anpin. They're also the same concept of the 2 arms, which he's really going to talk about the hands. It's both, that is the 2 arms which have hands at the end. It's both, so all of this really is not tying together as a whole 100%, but anyway, he wants to talk about the hands and the fingers because we're talking about finger breadths. So Sham Yavurach Meshes Baal Magoda V'Chadzeres Heichon Ramazin. So he says, what exactly, how do we see that this concept of the 5 fingers? So Amr Bazal, the Rav Zal say, Shalo Yipchos Mekesher Gudel. So you should have less than I guess it's the knuckle of the thumb. Who Shir Chetzi Etzba Shalagudel, which is what? It's the measurement of half of the bone, or I guess of the etzba of the god it's half of the thumb. V'tam b'davar now I'm not sure that I understood that, but that's what he said. V'tam b'davar hu b'masha daticho he say the chatzbalos kachem. This is the order of the fingers. Godel, first you have the thumb, then which is chesed. Then you move I guess if you talk about the right hand, you move to the left. So he's moved to the right. I'm sorry. You start with the thumb, and that's chesed. Then you go to etzba. That's the next finger. The pointing finger is the gevura. Then ama. That's the I guess the middle finger is called teferis. Kamitza. That's the ring finger. Is netzach. The zeres. The baby finger is hod. V'hine. So he says like this. Kasher ha-chasadim shenafla b'yisod dezam. When the chasadim wind up going into the yisod dezach, chozrim misham la'ala b'sod or chozer. We know that the pattern over there from the Otos Chaim, it says that they bounce back or something like that, and they go backwards mimata l'mala from the down below up above. The hagdil is in order to be able to grow zah kanoida. And what happens then is that as long as the chasadim were there, they're sweetening up the gevuros. But once they go backwards, they're not doing that anymore. But the thing is as they leave, it's not exactly all the same. That is the gevur of the gevuros. So he says, now this is like the gevura gevuros, so that would be the second finger. Let's say if we talk about fingers, he would say the gevura gevuros choseres kula v'ovedis as mituk shalal. So it really completely and totally leaves. It stops sweetening altogether. But teferes gevuros nimtekas kula. But on the other hand, the teferes of the gevuros is complete and totally sweetened. The fisha k'shaoda b'chasadim this matke gimel gevuros anikra chagat. Because as they go up, then they're actually sweetening the 3 gevuros, which are called chesed gevura teferes. Now, he just said that gevura is not the gevura. The gevuros is not sweetened. So I'm not sure. He's not talking about the gevuros. He's just talking about. He's talking about the spheros of Zeranpin. So these 3 gevuros mismatkim gimel gevuros and nikra chagad. Now he says gevuros. So it comes out that it gets sweetened 3 times. And so there becomes it 2 times. It gets sweetened on the way down. It comes into the yisod, and then when it bounces back up, it hits it again. That's what he says. But the chesed of the gevuros only has half of it sweetened. Because it's an aspect of the gevura, it's the chesed of gevura. Nishra chetzia tachtun bilti mituk. So some of it never gets sweetened. Kihu rachok min chasadim, because it's far away from the chasadim. After it's already gone up. When the chasadim go back up, some of the chesed of the gevuros winds up getting sweetened, but not all of it. This fact is that it's the chesed of the gevurah, v'gam lefi shekevar nimtak b'dechilo. So since it was already sweetened some, v'chein chetzia ha'elyo, so therefore the upper part, nimtak v'nimtak. So he said, "V'nimsa ki hu memutza." So there's just like a middle ground. V'chein adu b'chokim akram mitzua. So therefore, the fact is half, I guess, or something like that. V'chein anu misharim elcha be'emsa. So we only measure it, and this has something to do with the measuring process, only from the middle. Shuha chesed shebegavuras, which is the chesed of the gevuras. V'chein lo yarkik elcha kamale kesher godol. So therefore, you only distance it, that particular one, I guess from the half of the what does he say? Kamale kesher godol, only one knuckle. Shu chetzir shel godol, which is only half. In other words, from the to the one knuckle. I would guess maybe the knuckle upwards. Ki hagodol ein b'chabelabes gesharm. It only has two knuckles. B'chagodol b'chesed, the big with the gadol, which shagavur, which represents always chesed. He said, but it's the chesed of the left arm, let's say, which is gavur. Mamutza shabakulam, so it's more mixed than all of them. V'chein amar Razal. So then the rabbis say like this: He lo yarchik v'kesher godol. So you should not distance from the thumb, through the knuckle of the thumb, klape mala, going upward, v'lo yikrav klape mata, and not should be brought down lower, pacha mishlosha tzbaos, less than 3 finger breadths. Okay, sorry about that. Not sorry about that. That's what happens. Even though we see that these 3 fingers, mumutakos, either are sweetened, heim netzachod, teferes, kenoida, v'indechabechem ama, v'kamitza, v'zeres, those are the lower 3 fingers. Im calls that shem etzbahu, koilo b'kulam. So the concept of a finger incorporates all of them. The fish kulam heim gavuros, v'gavur shebechem nikra etzba. Kenaz v'heim kulam nikra gavuros v'etzbos al shema. So obviously this takes a lot more explanation to really get it. There's a lot missing in there. So we have just a couple minutes. Let's see if we could get a little bit here. It says tam lama etzbos nimdadim l'rachban. Why is it that the fingers are measured according to their width? V'godol nimdad l'orcho, because you're talking about from the knuckle upwards or something like that. So he said, uprati aliyas chasadim, and then the specifics of how the chasadim go up. Many yisod v'derek mitok of gevuras, and the way that the gevuras are sweetened, or the pathway. V'amna batam lama elo hagimel etzbos nimdados b'rachban. While they're spread in their long and not male kesher, and then the knuckle godel hu orcho, that one we say is according to the length. So you're measuring the fingers across the breadth, but you're measuring the thumb in the length. Hatam hu b'masha daticho yekavoros heim yordos b'dechila b'yisod zah. So first come down the gavoros into the yisod zeranpin. And then after that, 3 gesadim are amagulim that are revealed, and sweeten them. So when these chesadim go down, yordim echad leechad v'locha b'derek kavim. So they go one at a time, and they don't go. I guess they follow after each other. I guess that's what he means, and they don't go in 3 lines. So you have 3 gevuros. You might 3 chesadim. You might think they go in 3 lines, but no, they go one after another. V'afal pishach ha'gevuras heim sham, even though the gevuras of the b'derek kavim are sitting in kavim, ein chasadim yardim rak echad le'echad. Now that idea of they're sitting in kavim, you have 5 gevuros and you have 3 kavim. I don't know how that works exactly, but chasadim yardim rak echad le'echad. They only go one after another. I guess it means they follow each other in the same line. So therefore, that's the reason why we measure 3 finger breadths. Rochav zu al gav zu, with rochav, and then you put them like sideways, I guess, one on top of the next. The horus and mitukam, in order to show you that there's some sweetening going on, that happens as a result as when they're going down. But when they're going back the other way, Oz kulum olos derek kav emsoy. They all go through the kav emsoy. They nogim lo b'kav yamin. They don't touch the right line. They don't touch the left side. Shuhu anetzach. But lo b'kav small. Shuhu hahod. Okay, that's it. Thank you, Rabbi. And we'll just keep going. There's some halacha in here, so we'll see that next time. Maybe we'll get some understanding a little bit more, because this is a bit vague.